Hi, welcome to Glowing Diamond Online School. I am your science teacher, Victor. I'm out to simplify science in order to make you an A student. Stick with us and see things for yourself. Let's get started. We are starting with the very basics of biology, which is Introduction to Biology. And under Introduction to Biology, we are going to consider five categories, which are 1. Definition of science, 2. Definition of biology, 3. Branches of biology, 4. Methods of science, and 5. Usefulness or application of science. Starting from the first point, definition of science. Science is the systematic way of studying the natural world through observation, experimentation, and analysis of evidence. What this means is science is the study of nature, and this is done through observation, experimentation, and analysis of data to get evidence. Moving on to the second item, which is definition of biology. The term biology was derived from two Greek words, bios and logos. Bios means life, and logos means study. Therefore, biology is defined as the study of life or the study of living things. Just a reminder, in Glowing Diamond Online School, our intention is to make science as simple as possible. If you have watched this video to this extent, hit the subscription button. On to the next point, which is methods of science. This is simply the sequence of making inquiry about an object under study in science. When we make inquiries about an object that scientists are studying, we refer to that sequence or process of inquiry as scientific method or methods of science. Now, this method of science will have some categories that have been outlined. I've formed an acronym for it, which I called OHEC. OHEC. O stands for observation. H stands for hypothesis. The E there stands for experimentation. And the C stands for conclusion. Now, on say observation, here in science we use our senses. The sense of sight, the sense of tasting things, that is using our tongue, the sense of feeling, the sense of hearing, and the sense of touch to come to conclusion, to observe things around us. And then in hypothesis simply means a tentative guess. For example, if I said girls are more intelligent than boys, that is a tentative statement. Not until some tests are carried out and it is proven right that girls are more intelligent than boys, it remains a hypothesis. And how do we go about that? That is where the third point comes in: experimentation. Experiments are carried out to substantiate a hypothesis, to know how real or how true a hypothesis is. And in carrying out experiment, we have procedures that we follow. We have the aim of the experiment, the title of the experiment. Then we'll have the apparatus needed to carry out the experiment. We also have the procedure, how to go about the experiment. Then we'll have observation, and finally we draw a conclusion at the end of the experiment. That brings us to conclusion. Conclusion tells us the result of the observation of an experiment. If it is positive, then the hypothesis will be taken as something real. If it is negative, the hypothesis will either be considered null or that experiment to be done again. Sorry, I was supposed to take this point before methods of science, but not to worry, there's no difference. So we come to the first item, which is branches of biology. The two main branches of biology are botany and zoology. Botany is simply the study of plants, all the plants we have around us. When you pick anyone to study, what you are doing is botany. Then zoology has to do with the study of animals, human beings, and other animals around us. Don't forget, I said biology has two branches, which are botany and zoology. But there are other branches we are going to look at now. One, we have ecology. Ecology is the study of an organism in relation to its environment. Two, genetics. Genetics is the study of heredity and variation. When I say heredity, this is the transmission of traits or characters from parents to their offsprings. Why variation simply refers to the differences that occurs among individuals of the same species. That is how you can differentiate yourself from your father, from your mother, and your siblings. And then number three, you have anatomy. This is the study of structures, different structures in plants and animals. Why physiology has to do with the function of those structures we study in anatomy, and evolution has to do with changes that have taken place, adaptive changes that have taken place in organisms over a long period of time to give rise to new offspring that are better adapted to their environment. We come to the final point now, which is usefulness of science. Science finds application in so many fields of life. Amongst these fields are medicine. A lot of drugs have been produced to treat sicknesses, to treat all kinds of infection. The knowledge behind the production of the drugs and vaccines is obtained from science. So science is important in medicine. Number two, communication. You see how we communicate freely today. Somebody will be in America and then that person can easily communicate with someone who is in Nigeria. That is made possible through the knowledge of science. And then number three, transportation. It's easy to transport ourselves from one place to the other these days. Unlike the days of our forefathers, they were trekking using horses and donkeys. It was very tedious for them, but transportation has been made very easy due to the knowledge of science, engineering, construction of bridges, construction of tarred roads, and all of that. We see them skyscrapers, gigantic buildings are made possible through the knowledge of science that engineers and architects put in place to construct buildings today. Then in agriculture today, some of us are a testimony to this because science has been able to come up with varieties of animals and plants. Some persons refer to them as GMO, that is genetically modified organisms or species. Now, this is done in order to reduce the amount of famine or want of food in our community, such that when you plant a particular plant, within weeks or months, the plant is ready for consumption. The turnover is very high. That knowledge is from science. And then construction of roads, construction of bridges. This work hand in hand with engineering. A lot of construction work is going on all over Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. The knowledge of science is applicable. Technology. Technology has changed our world. You see the internet we are using today. You are seated at the comfort of your home. You communicate with somebody. If you don't want to go to your workplace, you can sit and work from home. During the lockdown, during the COVID-19 period, you see so many people were working from home. That was made possible through the knowledge of science. And then lastly, manufacturing industries. Gadgets, machines have been produced that enable people who work in companies, in manufacturing companies, to be able to produce finished goods, raw materials, and move to these manufacturing industries and then be able to process them to finished goods for human consumption. You see that science finds usefulness in society. In all, we've looked at the definition of science, we've looked at the definition of biology, we've also seen the branches of biology, we've seen the methods of science, we've seen the usefulness of science. Like I said earlier, in Glowing Diamond Online School, we simplify science to the barest minimum so that you can understand it. Then you are made an A student. If until now you have not hit the like button or the subscription button, you can do that now. I'll see you in the next video and in the next class. Thank you.